Now that we've got our homepage set up and we've kind of either drawn out a mind map on paper or we have it planned out in our heads, now is when we go in to add more pages. So I'm going to click on the Pages tab over here. And right now we can see that I only have one page and it's called Home. So to add more pages, I'm going to come down here to the bottom. And I've got a choice here. I can add a new page or I can add a new link. So for example, if I was using Prodigy Math quite a bit in my classes and I wanted to have that linked right off my homepage, I would use new link. So I'm going to call it Prodigy. And just to make sure I get the correct address, I'm going to open another tab and I'm going to search for it. Okay, Prodigy, good thing I looked it up because it's prodigygame.com. So I'm just going to copy this, Control-C, copy it, and I'm going to come back over to my page here. I'm going to paste that in. And so just like that, it's added it in for me, and I can go done. Now I've got the choice here. If I wanted to open in a new tab for kids, I would leave that checked off. And because I am having them access an external link, I probably will have them open it in a new tab because that way they have two tabs open, one with my website on it, and then the next tab over is going to be Prodigy Math Game. So I'm going to leave that checked. So now you see up here, there's a link to Prodigy, and we can tell it's a link because it's got the little chain link over here. Now, I'm going to add a new page. To do that, I'm going to hover over this plus, and I'm going to click on the plus page, not the link this time. And it asks me to give my new page a name. So I'm going to call it Math, just in keeping the flow here with our link we've already put in. And in advanced, I can do some things a little differently, but it's not necessary. So we're just going to close that up. That had nothing to do with opening in a new window because it's not an external link. And I'm going to click Done. And it's going to generate a new page for me. Now you see on here that it matches my home page. It's called Math. And now if we look over here, we've got the home page and its icon is a little house. I've got Math. Its icon is a page. And I've got Prodigy. Its icon is a link. So since we're talking about the mind map and how that pertains to websites, we should probably put up another page. If we consider the mind map analogy, the image that was shown in the previous module for Google Sites here had 4 subcategories coming from the homepage. So it's really easy to do that for a classroom website. I'm going to use the 4 core subjects. So I'm just going to really quickly here create 4 pages. So let's go science and done. There we go, we've got a science page. You'll note across the top in the navigation bar that it adds another one up here every time I add something over here. And it's got bolded the page that I am on right now. So now let's add language arts. And when we do that, it appears up here just like the others. And it's keeping, you'll notice it's keeping the link off to the right. It's putting these on, and they are going on in the order that I have been adding them. Let's add our last one, social studies. And I'm done. So now I have a home page with a page for each of my core subjects. Now we need to add some sub pages. So since I have a link in already pertaining to math, I'm going to just really quickly here add a couple more pages. So I'm going to do it by the strands in mathematics. So we've got our number strand, and I'll maybe just call it numbers just because it might look a little more logical to students. So I'm going to put that in. Now, I want that to be underneath math. So I'm going to drag it up there, and I'm going to drop it under math. If I put it right on top of math, it's going to go in as a drop-down menu. So now if we look over here, we see on our menu, math has a little arrow pointing down, and there it is. There's that numbers page, and we see it on our mind map over here. as being under math. So let's add another one. Let's add patterns and relations. And we'll put that on. And again, it's going to appear down here. I just drag it up. I hold it right over top of math. And when I release, it's there. Now, if I wanted to change the order of these, I just do it by dragging. I can drag patterns and relations down. If I wanted these to appear in alphabetical order on my website, I could bring language arts up and just put it above math between home and math. So I've got home, language arts, math, science, social studies. Those are all in order now. I could also put Prodigy underneath math. So now it's no longer sitting off on the side, but when kids look under math, we see patterns and relations, we see numbers, and we see Prodigy. Again, I change the order of these by just dragging them around. So I'll drag Prodigy to the top, and then I'll put the curricular stuff, because that's what I'm deciding to do today. But you see how it would be super easy to even change the sequence of things on your mind map over here to have things show up at the top of the list based on what you want your students to be focusing on. Now, if we look over here again at the drop down, you'll see that numbers is highlighted as compared to the other ones. That's because we are on the numbers page right now. So it even shows us over here where we are at. And those colors, again, that comes from your theme. So we don't have the ability to come in here and fiddle around with colors and things like that here. We do that over here on the themes page. And I'll say it again, you can change your theme at any point. And so if I change the theme now and I go to this one, it's going to make all of my pages have this theme on it now. So let's change a color here real quick, and then let's go to a different one of the pages. So if I wanted to edit the science page, I'm going to come over here into my pages. I'm going to just click on science. There it is. We've brought up the science page, and I can start to populate this just like I did the home page. So maybe I want, science usually has 5 main units, so maybe I want one for each unit. So I'll start off with those and I'll fill in the information there. And then I might put under science 5 sub-pages with each of the topics that we're going to cover. When we're talking about websites, there isn't a right or wrong way to do it. You should build your class website in a way that is going to make good sense to your students and makes good sense to you. We used to hear things in technology like, you can't have more than 3 clicks or the user will quit before they arrive at what they're looking for. You have to make it obvious. We do have to make it somewhat obvious, but the 3 clicks philosophy has been debunked. Research has shown that if the user feels like they're on the trail, we kind of think of it almost like a scent trail of an animal seeking its prey or seeking whatever it is that it smells, that it'll keep going as long as it senses it's close. And humans are the same as it pertains to our usage of websites, it turns out. If we feel like we're on the right track and we're getting close, we tend to persist. So I think that actually speaks fairly well of humans, that we are a little more persistent than just 3 clicks. And that may have been true in the early days of the internet, but we no longer consider that to be true. So you don't have to set your website up with subjects like this. It might make a whole lot more sense to you depending on if you integrate some of your subjects and don't treat them as quite such standalone pillars. It might make better sense to you to organize it in a different way. All I'm telling you is that however you decide to set up your website is correct. There's no right and wrong with this. So have some fun with it, play with it, consider your mind map, and build a website.